I had quite a traumatic childhood growing up. There was a lot of violence and there was a lot of abuse. I'd reached a point where I didn't care what had happened to me. I just couldn't take any more of seeing the abuse and going through that every single day. I'd become really withdrawn and not eating, so I was losing quite a lot of weight. And I was only 13 at the time. My school began to notice that there was something quite wrong, especially like my English teacher as well. So she asked me what was wrong, and I was really upset, and I said to her that I can't tell you. Eventually I did, and that then caused for social services to be involved in removing me from the care of the relatives that had abused me. It was the scariest, lowest and numbest point of my life. My mental health began to worsen, and I was really embarrassed. I didn't want to admit that I had problems. It was almost like adapting to normal life was harder than actually going through the abuse that I'd been through. I'd begun to self-harm, and I'd also become anorexic as well. I was referred to a counsellor through my school. I found it very difficult to talk at a level that was audible, and I remember having to shut the windows just to be able to hear me talk. Then subsequently I got a referral to a psychologist on the NHS who was able to help me with the self-harm and the eating disorder as well, so I kind of felt like I was getting all the support that I so desperately needed. I was 17 years old and I decided that I was going to move in with my adopted dad, who had terminal cancer, who also had bipolar disorder, and in many ways I felt like it was very similar to what I was going through. It was the best thing that ever happened to me because I got a true sense of family and friends and just feeling like I was just in a safe place, in a safe family environment. Spending time with somebody else with mental health problems made me realise that actually you can function as a normal human being. He was a photographer and lighting cameraman, and when I was at my most unwell, I was on antipsychotic medication. I would just literally sleep for 20 hours a day, but in the time that I was sort of like awake during the day, we would go for a walk and stuff, and he would just put a camera in my hand and he said, do something with it, like just take some pictures, just put your mind on something else. And it was from that that I had got a lot of work together, and I decided to put it in an exhibition. I visited the gallery a few times just to sort of see what people's reactions were, and was approached by a woman and her daughter. The woman was actually crying. She said, "You've taken these pictures, haven't you?" And I just said yes, and she said, after coming here today, myself and my daughter aren't going home. Sounded like they'd been through a pretty hard time themselves, but it just made me feel like I'd really achieved something. And what I realised was that by doing something and by motivating yourself, even if it's just a tiny bit, helps keep you healthy. Like, I know now that if I begin to feel low and stuff, well, I should get up and I should do something. And that's how I think I've gone from the person that could barely get out of bed to the person that's now just finished their first year at university. And if anything, I never believed I would be able to do that, but I've done it, and I truly believe that other people could really benefit from doing it as well.